You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, leaders in Cherokee County came together to discuss plans to help grow their communities.
Also, Cherokee County Sheriff-elect Brian Henderson is set to take office next Monday. We'll hear how he's planning his transition into his new role.
And we've got clear skies, clear roads. Fantastic news there. Unfortunately, the temperature's not so fantastic. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warren. It's just after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday morning, January the 8th. Man, the weather changes and everything else. Everybody's getting sick. Yes. Elise was sick. She came back, still not 100%. Now the rest of us are getting sick. I don't actually blame her. I may joke about blaming her, but it's not her fault.
I feel bad.
It's really just, it's this weather, man.
Weather
it's
and the
tough.
cold,
it's,
and that's the time of year.
Yeah. Thankfully, we will eventually get seasonable again. Got a few days before we get there. We'll talk about that in a moment. As our temperatures grow, some folks working on growing local economy.
Yes. Economic growth could be on the horizon for Cherokee County. A strategic planning meeting was held in Columbus to discuss plans for growing the county's economy.
KOAM's Melissa Alexis shares what the current obstacles are and how they plan to be addressed.
There's a lot of growth potential here.
Growth. That's what the city administrator of Columbus hopes to see happen across Cherokee County.
I think there's a lot to like about Columbus.
And that's why residents and business owners gathered at the Lunch and Learn at the community building in Columbus to figure out a plan to help Cherokee County thrive.
An opportunity to start a conversation. Really, it's just meant to be a broad conversation about what the needs are.
The city administrator of Columbus, Jake Lettner, says they're looking to build on some of their past efforts.
In the past, we've offered some different grant opportunities and some low-interest loan opportunities. We're here today to try to figure out where the needs are and try to best put together programs and services that'll meet their needs.
He says he's proud of Columbus's progress, but one roadblock he notices is population size.
Over time, we've dwindled. Our population has declined, so really we're trying to stem that tide.
Over the last 10 years or more, we've gone down every year in population. So we want to stimulate some growth, stimulate a reason for people to stay in the area, and then bring more people in so we can grow this great part of the country.
Just a minute, and we want everybody to at least write one thing down.
Lettner says one of his ideas to address this issue is investing in housing and infrastructure. The executive director of Cherokee County Economic Development says he wants more people to know about all that Cherokee County has to offer.
We have the greatest 13.2 miles of Route 66. We have Big Brutus. We have the best hunting and fishing in the state.
Reporting in Columbus, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Well, as of 2024, Cherokee County's population is about 19,000 and Columbus's population is just over 2,800.
So certainly opportunities to grow the economy. And as they mentioned, Columbus is a great community. You've got Baxter Springs, you've got Riverton, you got Galena, a lot of opportunities there to grow Cherokee County. And I'm sure that they'll find some ways to spur some economic growth. Absolutely. I keep telling them, I mean, we're in Cherokee County here at the station. Mm-hmm. We have a Pittsburgh address, but we're in Cherokee County. I keep trying to convince them to build a Casey's in front of the station. I can't tell you how many folks would benefit from a gas station right here. But that's neither here nor I know. We'd never make it in time for the news. But there isn't one, unfortunately, and so we're here, and we've got stuff to talk about. For example, the cold weather, which is messing with everybody. Let's take a look outside because I can guarantee you until I absolutely have to, I'm not stepping outside because it is too cold. We're all getting sick and I don't like it. I'm done. I'm sure all of you folks at home are done. I'm not like trying to be that Debbie Downer. I'm like, everything sucks. I think, look, I like the winter just fine. I like snow. I do not like 5-degree temperatures. I do not like getting in the car and freezing to death for the first half hour until it warms up. But it looks great. And when it snows, it looks so beautiful. I mean, I know it's inconvenient to drive in, but man, it just looks pretty. No snow out there right now, though, but that could change. Again, that's our camera downtown Pittsburgh. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline, looking back to the east. Another great shot of that sunrise out there this morning. And again, it looks beautiful, just doesn't feel so beautiful. Into the afternoon we go. Clear skies, temperatures, upper teens, low 20s by noon. Our highs today, believe it or not, will actually be a degree or two cooler than yesterday. we're not going to be able to tell the difference, but it will actually be a little cooler today than it was yesterday. And we go in late evening and overnight, winds shift out of the south. Doesn't do much for our temperatures overnight, but will make some changes for us as we head into tomorrow. 12 in Joplin, 12 in Pittsburgh, and as we look at temperatures around the area, of course, up north a little colder, 8 in Iola, 9 in Yates Center, and again, the rest of us still just kind of hovering in the teens this morning. And with these really cold temperatures, it does not take much of a breeze to make it feel much colder, and that's what we are seeing. Feels like 5 below in Iola. That's the coldest wind chill, followed by Yates Center at 0. The rest of us, for most part, are hanging out in the single digits for wind chills, but we do have some where the wind's not having that big of an impact on your temperatures right now. As we head into the afternoon, again, clear skies, northwest winds 5 to 10, highs right around the mid-20s. Now, winds shift out of the south tonight. It's going to be cold tonight. Believe it or not, it'll be a little warmer tomorrow. And the reason that's kind of surprising is because tomorrow also sees the return of snow chances. We will go over all of that with you in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, 2 people were rushed to a local hospital after a crash on I-44 yesterday evening. The crash happened about 4:45 at exit 6. Authorities say a passenger car was rear-ended by a tractor trailer and pushed into the barrier. Now, last week, a semi crashed into the same barrier, and you can find more details on this story as they become available at KOAMNewsNow.com. KDOT plans to hold more meetings on the future of the Highway 69 corridor. You may recall a freeway project with plans to expand Highway 69 west of Pittsburgh was canceled in 2023. Now, since then, KDOT has hosted a series of public meetings and open houses to give the public a chance to weigh in on the future of the highway. Some of the lingering concerns deal with the issue of cost versus benefits of any plans for the highway. KDOT says their next round of meetings will take place in late February. Well, in less than 1 week, the Cherokee County Sheriff-elect Brian Henderson will take office. Yesterday, he spoke with KOAM's Samantha Walker about the transition into the new role.
It's just been a lot of speaking with people and preparing for this big jump.
Brian Henderson is just days away from stepping into the role of Cherokee County Sheriff, a position David Groves has held for the past 15 years. With decades of experience in law enforcement, Henderson has been spending the time since Election Day preparing for the new role.
A lot of meetings with current staff that will be staying with us and working with us, and a lot of just finding out not only what their needs are, but what their job roles are so that we can fully understand.
Prior to the election, Henderson was the police chief of Baxter Springs. City Council has since appointed Jimmy Hamilton as interim chief, and Henderson worked with the department through December to help transition him into the role. In a statement to KOAM following his appointment, Hamilton said Henderson had the department on a really good path and that he wanted to keep it headed in that direction. Henderson has also chosen an undersheriff, Chip Root, who he's known for decades and previously worked with at the Joplin Police Department.
We're not afraid to have a conversation that we may not agree on, but we both can come to the table and at the end of the day walk away with a unified front, knowing that we're making the best decision.
I love this county. I love the people, and now that my career is over in Missouri and Joplin, I have the opportunity to give back to my own community, and that's what I'm eager to get going.
Henderson says some of the goals he has early on is to sit down and build stronger relationships with department employees and community members. He says he wants to work closely with other agencies for advice and assistance and wants to make Cherokee County a safe place that people want to visit.
That trust is a bond that's constantly being built. It's not just walking in day one and saying, trust me, but it's a constant building upon with them, and not only with the employees, but the community.
Reporting in Cherokee County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Sheriff Henderson will begin his new job on Monday. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Emily Frankowski from Connect to Culture shares what's in store for the month of January at the Cornell Complex. And later, students in Denver get the help transitioning to middle school from the school's therapy dog. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Welcome back. We have Emily Frankowski from Connect to Culture with us this morning, and she's here to share more about a few upcoming performances for this month. Good morning. Happy to have you here. Hope you're warming up. It's freezing out there.
It's chilly.
So talk to me about some of these exciting events you've got going on in the month of January.
Well, Connect to Culture is just excited to ring in the new year with everyone, and it's no better time to get involved with the arts and culture in Joplin than now. You can make it kind of a resolution, and informal, because I feel like people are kind of doing away with that. They don't want all this pressure of resolutions, but being involved or going to arts events is very minimal. So it's nothing to be scared of. And there's plenty to do in Joplin. So always look at Connect to Culture's calendar at connecttoculture.org. You can look at performances, events, classes, and exhibits going on throughout the Joplin area at any given time. But the first thing that Connect to Culture has coming up is a wonderful performance with Joplin's own Glenda Austin, which is called A Few of My Favorite Things and Yours Too, with Glenda Austin. And that is going to be on January 18th, which is a Saturday at 4 p.m., so a nice matinee. But many people will recognize Glenda as a composer, a pianist, a notable pianist educator, as well as an accompanist. She's worked with so many students across the 4 states. She has such a presence at Missouri Southern State University, accompanying many of the choral groups, also throughout churches. And so she's just a wonderful person. You know, I didn't really know Glenda before. We've had a few performances with her at the Cornell Complex, but she's just a really special person and beloved by many. But she's going to be doing a lot of different tunes that you know and love, hymns, as well as TV show, kind of motifs, as well as movie, so like Mission Impossible, you might hear some of that. Just some of the favorites that she loves, other people will recognize. And she's going to bring out a lot of friends and family. So it's always fun. You never know what's going to happen in a Glenda Austin concert. And so definitely one not to miss.
Now you also have on Tuesday, January 21st, you have the Missouri Arts Advocacy Prep. Talk to me about what that is.
This is so exciting. Every year, Missouri arts advocates gather together and we go to the capital, the state capital of Missouri in Jefferson City. And so this is a Missouri Arts Advocacy Prep workshop kind of that Connect to Culture puts on in advance of Missouri Citizens for the Arts workshop, which will be a couple days later. Missouri Citizens for the Arts, if you don't know about it, is the main arts advocacy group for Missouri. So if you're not a member, you should join us for all arts advocacy efforts. But Connect to Culture will gather Joplin arts organizations, and we will all kind of go over different agenda items that we have. And it's mainly to support funding and continued funding for the Missouri Arts Council, which supports Connect to Culture, Pro Musica, Spiva, all different arts organizations in Joplin and all different cities across Missouri. So we'll help you kind of figure out what you should be talking to legislators about. And you don't necessarily have to go to the Capitol yourself, but you could write letters, you could email, you could phone call, you could walk over to their house, because I mean, I have a legislator right around the corner. So it's just a time for us to get those agenda items in our heads and communicate with legislators.
Absolutely. And then later on that week, you are also having one more performance as well. Talk to me about that and who is all involved.
We're really excited about this. January 25th, which is a Saturday, we are going to learn a lot about life and love over the age of 40 by one of TV's favorite dads, who is Rondell Sheridan. And you will know him from That's So Raven, who is Raven's dad. So, but he's a wonderful stand-up comedian. He has been on so many different TV sitcoms. So he's a very notable face, but hilarious, very observational comedy, and he will just have you laughing, crying, just really excited to host him because he's such a big name. And who doesn't want to start off 2025 laughing at others, at yourself? But it's just going to be a lot of fun. For those that are over 40, they'll kind of be able to definitely see themselves in some of the things he says, and then maybe younger people will actually get to see maybe some of their parents.
Well, it sounds fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Well, Emily, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:19 now on this Wednesday morning, and we are looking first at this. This is the winter storm watch. It's to our south, but it goes from Virginia and North Carolina through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all of Tennessee, most of Kentucky, most of Arkansas, parts of Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. And then the pink here is this winter storm warning, which includes parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and most of southern Arkansas. Now, this is to our south. It looks as though the worst of the snow and the winter storm itself will remain to our south, but we are still expecting snow up here. We're going to talk about that in just a moment as we head to our Thursday. All right, for today though, clear skies, still chilly out there. Temperatures not very warm at all. We'll have a northwest wind at 5 to 10 as we go late into the evening and overnight. That wind shifts out of the south. Doesn't do much for our overnight temperatures, but will bring in a few changes and a little more moisture as we head into Thursday. So that's the thing. We're going to get a fair amount of moisture. But because it'll be cold enough, anything we do see precipitation-wise will be snow, be probably a heavy wet snow. While it may not accumulate to a ton by any means, it could still cause some problems because the other issue we're going to have is the winds out of the south start increasing, gusting upwards of 25. So our bigger concern as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening is not so much, major accumulations by any means. It's going to be that possibility of blowing snow leading to reduced visibilities on roadways if you're traveling or commuting home or whatever the case may be. So just keep that in mind for tomorrow. By noon, a little bit of snow in southern Washington County, and then as we go into the afternoon, we start to see more snow spreading across the area. It's very likely most of our region will get snow, but we're just not going to get a lot, and the better chances for some heavier snow or at least more snow accumulations is going to be roughly, if you draw a line from Nevada back toward Parsons, north of Coffeyville, and back into parts of Chautauqua County, southeast are going to have the better chances for slightly more snow than those to the north and west of that line. This will continue through the afternoon, into the evening and overnight hours before it starts to come to a close Friday morning. It does so as the cold front starts to push through. In fact, here it is right here, and it will bring in a north breeze and slightly cooler temperatures for Friday, but still warmer than what we're going to be today. And then a few lingering flurries, a couple of snow showers Friday morning, and we'll start to see some clearing from west to east, start going partly cloudy by Friday evening. So what are we looking at in terms of snowfall totals? Well, that's where it still gets a little tricky. There is the slightest chance that low pressure that's going to be causing all this could lift a little further north. It's looking a lot less likely, but it's still a possibility. If it does, that will increase snow totals across our area. But in all honesty, right now it looks like it's going to stay on its track a little further to the south and not bring us a ton of snow, but definitely bring us some snow. So this is one computer suggesting that low may be a little further north, giving the region anywhere from 2, possibly upwards of 5 inches of snow. I think we're more likely going to be in a 1 to 3 inch zone with, again, the better chances of that accumulation actually sticking, being from here and to the south and to the east across the area. Again, it's a little unusual simply because usually our snow systems come from the north. That's why northern counties usually get more snow, but in this case it's coming in from the south. Temperatures right now across the area, very cold still, 8 Yates Center and Iola. The rest of us still into the teens. That wind though makes it feel like 2 below in Iola, 1 below in Yates Center, and for most of us those wind chills still into the single digits. As we go through the morning, 12 to start the day, clear skies, and eventually 20 by 11 o'clock. Temperatures today actually a couple of degrees cooler than yesterday, mid-20s though. We won't notice the difference, but technically they're a little cooler. Mid to upper 30s to start Thursday, a slow fall in temperatures in the afternoon and evening. A little cooler Thursday, and then slightly more seasonable temperatures as we go through the weekend and into next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, students at an elementary school in Denver are getting help from an unlikely place.
The school's therapy dog is stepping up with the release of his very own book. Adria Arahita reports.
He doesn't speak well, but get him on a keyboard, he can type away.
It's not Rue's first day in a classroom.
Have you guys seen Rue's book?
But it is the name of his first book.
Once upon a time in a friendly town, there lived a brave police therapy dog named Rue.
We meet Rue and his friend Buttercup at Meadowview Elementary as they help their handlers, Officers David Knight and Scott Gillespie.
Did they make you smile when they walked in?
Yes. Read to these very excited 6th graders for the first time.
And it's kind of just about nervous feelings. It's about Rue's first day at middle school. We wanted to be able to target some issues that specific groups of students feel, whether it's like Rue's book going into middle school or, issues in the high school.
Favorite part of the book was probably the beginning when Rue was a little nervous.
With middle school just a few months away, the story hits close to home.
That encouraged me a little bit.
And while the therapy dogs have been around Douglas County schools for a few years,
All right, it's time to read.
Buttercup being the first,
Okay, go ahead. Anytime, Buttercup. We're ready.
they're just now putting paw to paper
What stands out to me is just the smiles.
in hopes of making the transition to middle school a little less rough.
You just can't beat that.
Certainly a very unique situation there,
Yes.
right? That they're writing
Very
those
fun.
books. It is, and they're having fun, and that's the important
If I was a
part.
kid in school and I was like, oh my gosh, a dog wrote this book, I think that was
I
pretty
believe
cool.
it too, and I'd be very
Absolutely.
excited as well.
Well, coming up, we'll have a few tips to help keep you and your family safe from carbon monoxide.
And we are keeping an eye on the cold temperatures this morning. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. I'm Elise Snowy. The city of Neosho wants to build a new aquatic center, but first it needs a green light from voters. Last night, the Neosho Council voted to add a question to the April 8th ballot asking Neosho voters to approve a use tax to help fund a new aquatic center. Now, the current city pool has been plagued with issues. The city repainted and resealed the pool and replaced the pump and motor system before the 2023 season. That's currently operated by the Neosho Freeman Family YMCA. And in December, the city asked residents to fill out a survey to see what they'd like in a new outdoor aquatic center and recreation area. Now, the plan is to build it just west of the Neosho Golf Course near Waldo Halter Memorial Drive and Hill McGinty Drive. Now, potential amenities include a new outdoor swimming pool, pickleball courts, an inclusive playground, and renovating the current golf clubhouse facility. The use tax would match the city's current 3% sales tax and wouldn't apply to items purchased from out-of-state vendors.
If you shop online, you do pay a state of Missouri tax at the state of Missouri tax rate, 4.4225%. What the city council is asking is the 3% local sales tax that you would normally pay at local brick and mortar stores, that you would pay that amount also online for online purchases.
The Aquatic Center funding question passes on the April ballot. Consumers would only be required to fill out a use tax return if yearly purchases exceeded $2,000. Now let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we're going to start with a look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh, and it is looking okay. Roads are clear, skies are clear. It is a bit on the brisk, well, not brisk, that'd be windy. It's not windy, it's cold though. It is certainly cold out there. Modoc camera 20th and range line also looking pretty good, but again, it is fairly cold. On to the future track into this afternoon. We'll have that northwest breeze 5 to 10. Weather was looking at clear skies and just cold temperatures below normal out there, which is something we've kind of become accustomed to over the last few days. As we go later into the evening and overnight, though, winds will shift out of the south. Now, it won't do anything for our temperatures tonight, but it will start bringing in some changes as we head into our Thursday, and some changes that we'll really enjoy, because this we don't enjoy so much. 12 in Joplin and in Pittsburgh and across the area. Of course, it is colder in our northern counties. 8 in Iola and Yates Center. The rest of us, again, still holding out into the teens, but with temperatures this cold, does not take much of a breeze to make it feel colder. We got wind chills for a good portion of us into the single digits. It's 2 below in Iola and 1 below in Yates Center, and it's not 2 below in Iola, it's 2 below. All right, on to the rest of our day. We are looking at sunny skies, and again, northwest breeze 5 to 10. Temperatures, believe it or not, today will be maybe a degree or two colder than yesterday, but we're not really going to notice. But we're looking about the mid-20s out there. Now, we're actually going to be warmer tomorrow, but tomorrow also brings in snow chances. We'll go over all those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, in these cold conditions, we have to be cautious when warming our homes or cars. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talks to experts on how you can protect yourself and your family from the silent killer, carbon monoxide.
The death in the sleep is probably the most common.
Leif Hasty is the battalion fire chief at Reddings Mill Fire District in Joplin. He says based on his nearly 20 years of experience, some people are just unaware of the deadly poison carbon monoxide until it's too late.
They felt that they had the headache, they went to go lay down, and the problem persisted. Just inhale whatever's in their home, being fed into their home, and it could possibly just kill them. So
Hasty says there's a few things to look out for.
we ask that you call someone professional to come inspect it, make sure it's working right, look at the flame itself, and see that you have a good blue burning flame.
Although there are tips to help protect yourself, the fire chief says it's better to just invest in a device that measures carbon monoxide.
Getting an alarm. The alarm is going to be the best guess for anything if something actually is happening.
Dale Owens is the owner of S&S Security Systems. He, along with Hasty, says everyone should have a carbon monoxide detector. Owens says companies are starting to take notice and make a one device fits all.
For a long time they were separate. You had to get either smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Now we're seeing the combination of those units beginning to be produced on the marketplace.
Hasty says you should know how the detector works and when to change it.
Certain chirps will just tell you you have a bad detector or your batteries are bad, and kind of relieves the stress a little bit.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Hasty also emphasizes you should never close your garage door immediately after you shut off your vehicle. You should wait a few minutes to allow the exhaust to leave. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Michigan father delivers his baby thanks to the help of a 911 dispatcher. In Consumer Watch this morning, the United States Postal Service will suspend regular mail delivery for Thursday to observe former President Jimmy Carter's National Day of Mourning. The USPS says it will close all post office locations. The USPS will still accept and process mail dropped by commercial mailers at mail processing facilities. Operations will return back to normal on Friday. The tens of thousands of Amazon employees returned to the office for in-person work. Now, Monday was the first official day back for 50,000 employees full-time at the company's headquarters in Seattle. Another 12,000 are expected to return to the nearby Bellevue office. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said back in September that all workers would be required to come into the office 5 days a week. In May of last year, the company had transitioned from remote work to 3 days a week in office. Well, holiday spending hits record highs thanks to an artificial boost. Adobe Analytics reports online shoppers spent more than $241 billion over the holidays, jumping almost 9% from the previous year. The report says AI-powered chatbots were key in boosting traffic in e-commerce sites between the period of November 1st to December 31st. Meta has announced major changes to its censorship policy. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble has the details.
Meta is announcing major changes that it says will make Facebook, Instagram, and Threads places where free speech thrives. So here they are. First and foremost, Meta is ending its third-party fact-checking program in the United States, instead moving to a community notes program very similar to what you see on X right now. The company is lifting restrictions on certain topics like immigration, gender identity, and trans issues, and it's increasing political content for those users who want to see it. It's also moving its content moderation and safety teams from California to Texas to avoid political bias. In making these changes, Meta is acknowledging that too much harmless content has been censored using its automated systems. It says there was political bias through that fact-checking process. Now it's not going to use those automated systems to monitor for all policy violations, but only to scan for illegal and what it considers to be high-severity violations like terrorism, child sexual exploitation, and scams. Mark Zuckerberg announced the changes in a video posted to Instagram Tuesday morning, and in his first and only TV interview since taking the job, Meta's new head of global affairs, Joel Kaplan, blamed President Biden and his administration for trying to control content. on social media.
When you have a U.S. president and administration that's pushing for censorship, it just makes it open season for other governments around the world that don't even have the protections of the First Amendment to really put pressure on U.S. companies. We're going to work with President Trump to push back on that kind of thing around the world.
Meta also announced it's adding Dana White and 2 others to its board. The UFC CEO is a close friend of President-elect Trump, so with the addition of White and Kaplan, plus these changes to content moderation, the company is clearly signaling a shift to more expression and less censorship on its platforms. In Washington, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:44 on this Wednesday morning, and we have down to our south winter storm watches. This winter storm watch stretches from parts of North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, with winter storm warnings, parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and back toward the Dallas metro area. So that is where the worst of this is going to be, but we are still expecting to get some snow across the area. We'll talk about that and its impacts in just a moment. As for today, though, we're looking at clear skies, northwest wind 5 to 10, and still very cold out there, well below normal for us. As we go in the evening and overnight, winds will shift out of the south, and again, it won't do anything really for our overnight temperatures. Still pretty cold start tomorrow, but we're going to be warmer tomorrow. Not significantly, but it'll feel better for us. It'll be a little closer to average for us. We'll start the day mostly clear, and then clouds will increase through the morning, and the winds will also increase. They'll be out of the south still, but now gusting upwards of 25 miles an hour. That's where the concern comes in with the snow. We're not expecting several inches of snow. We're not expecting several feet of snow or anything like that. But the concern is, as the snow rolls in the afternoon and into the evening hours, those gusty winds could lead to blowing snow, which could lead to reduced visibilities, especially for the afternoon and evening commutes. So you want to keep that in mind. And we're looking at, with these temperatures, I mean, take a look. Even as the snow rolls in, we're at or even just a little above freezing. So we're looking at maybe the possibility of a heavy wet snow, which means tie that in with the winds, that could significantly reduce visibilities. And that's going to be our bigger concern as the snow rolls through Thursday afternoon, evening, and into the overnight hours. It's just going to be that blowing snow effect out there for us. Otherwise, it will continue, and then by early Friday morning, it starts to wrap up. We have a cold front. 5 a.m. right across the area, almost right along I-44 by 5. A few lingering snow showers, some flurries out there. Winds will shift out of the north. It'll be a little cooler Friday, but still warmer on Friday than we will be today. And as we head through the afternoon, the skies will gradually clear and will eventually be partly cloudy by Friday evening. So we're looking at the snow. Again, there's still the remote possibility that low could track a little further north. If it tracks a little further north, then we could be dealing with significantly higher accumulations. That's a possibility. I want to emphasize, though, right now, the odds for that are extraordinarily low. It's not to say it's impossible, it's just very low. So this model is thinking the low maybe lifts a little further north, and that puts us in that, let's say, 2 to 5 inch range for snow. And of course, because the system is coming up from the south and not the north, heavier snow amounts are going to be expected across our southern counties. Now, the other computer model thinks that low will stay at or maybe a little further south than where it currently is, and that will reduce snow totals overall and put us more in a 1 to 3 inch range. And I think that's more what we're looking at this point, is maybe 1 to 3, possibly 2 to 4 inches. But the best chances for the accumulating snow, if you take a line from Nevada, draw it through Parsons, around Independence, if you're along that line in southeast, that's going to be the better chances for a little bit more snow out there. So it's something we'll keep a close eye on. These numbers will change again by the time Doug Hetty gets here this evening, and he'll have more information for you tonight as well. And we'll have more information by tomorrow morning before it all gets underway. Very cold this morning, 9 in Iola, 8 in Yates Center, the rest of us in the teens. And even with the light breeze, again, it still makes it feel a little colder. 3 below in Iola, 0 in Yates Center. Most of us, though, those wind chills still hanging out in the single digits. As we get our morning started, we're going to be about 12. Clear skies, around 20 by 11 a.m. Highs today, a few degrees cooler than yesterday, a couple of degrees cooler than yesterday. We won't notice, but it will be technically cooler. Mid-20s out there, mid to upper 30s. Thursday. Temperatures will fall slowly as the snow rolls in. Low 30s by Friday, and then take a look. Heading to the weekend and next week, temperatures considerably more seasonable across the area. Still chilly, but it's going to feel a lot nicer out there. Let's check your forecast. We are back with more right after this.
Well, it's hard to keep calm when a baby is on the way, but a 911 dispatcher from the Macomb County Sheriff's Office kept her cool, playing a huge role in the successful delivery of a newborn baby.
Jordan Burrows had an opportunity to speak with that dispatcher.
Inside this building behind me just a couple of days ago before the new year was nothing short of a miracle. A 911 dispatcher took a call from a man whose wife was in active labor, her contractions just less than a minute apart. Well, the 911 dispatcher calmly guided that husband to help his wife deliver a healthy baby.
The baby's all the way out.
This was not your typical day for Macomb County 911 dispatcher Sydney Schramm or the couple on the other side of this call.
He told me right away, your contractions are under a minute apart, so I kind of knew that something was going to be happening probably before the fire department could get there.
A husband had called 911 because his wife was going into labor. Her contractions were too close to take her to a hospital to give birth, so Schramm had to guide him to help deliver the baby.
You're going to need to stimulate the baby's breathing. I want you to gently but vigorously rub the baby's back with your fingertips, okay?
The call came in around 5:42 a.m. on December 29th.
Her water just broke.
And Schramm used her training to calmly help the caller successfully deliver the baby and stimulate the baby's breathing post-birth. She stayed on the phone with the caller until Clinton Township Fire Department arrived to continue care.
It's much easier said than done, but just keep as much cool as you possibly can in that situation and know that, like, I trust all my partners down here. If that were me calling, that I would have faith that they could get me through it, even if I wasn't able to totally keep my head.
Good job, sister. Proud of you.
Good job, sis.
Sure, this was a unique situation, but it actually happens a few times a year. It just goes to show you how well trained and prepared these 911 dispatchers are at the Macomb County Dispatch Center.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to keep calm on the other end of that. If I was the father doing that, I'd be like, what do I do? I can't get her.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the dispatcher guided him through the whole process
absolutely.
there. So very, very cool. And speaking of cool, it's very cold outside, and we're going to start to see some changes. I want to talk about our snow chances one more time with you. So as we head into our Thursday, we're going to start with south winds and cold temperatures. But then through the morning, clouds increase, the winds increase. They'll start gusting out of the south, upwards of 25 miles an hour. And as we head into the afternoon, snow will begin to increase across the area. It looks pretty likely that most of the area we'll see the snow. It's just a matter of how much we'll actually get to stick to the ground and accumulate, with the best chances, again, from Nevada, Parsons, Independence, and points southeast, the better chances for some accumulating snow. The main concern as we head through Thursday afternoon and evening with this snow is with those gusty winds. It could be a heavy wet snow that could lead to reduced or potentially even significantly reduced visibilities for that commute home in the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday. So that's something you definitely want to keep in mind. We'll keep an eye on the snow for you. I have more for you later today. And of course, tomorrow morning, we'll have one more look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Southeast Kansas community leaders came together for the first of 3 strategic planning meetings. Residents and business owners discussed ways to foster economic growth throughout Cherokee County. One of the obstacles is a declining population. The executive director of Cherokee County Economic Development says they hope to tackle the issue by investing in housing and infrastructure. And KDOT plans to hold more meetings on the future of the Highway 69 corridor. Now, you may recall a freeway project with plans to expand Highway 69 west of Pittsburgh was canceled in 2023. Now, since then, KDOT has hosted several public meetings and open houses to give the public a chance to express their opinion. The next round of meetings will take place in late February.
And we got another cold day out there as we go about the mid-20s. Sunny skies, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wind shifting out of the south tonight. Clear skies back to the mid-teens. That south breeze at 5 to 10. South winds kick up tomorrow, gusting to 25. As we head into the afternoon and evening, snow rolls in. So our bigger concern again is more with blowing snow and reduced visibilities than with any kind of major accumulations. But the southeastern half of our area could get maybe 1 to 4 inches of snow. That'll continue into early Friday. We'll start to clear out, and once we do so, temperatures, they're still chilly heading into the weekend and next week, but they're a little closer to normal as we head into the weekend and next week, something we haven't been near for a while.
All righty. Well, here's something you don't see every day. A Black Hawk medevac helicopter stopped at the Joplin Regional Airport just before noon yesterday. Now, the crew of 2 refueled at Mizzou Aviation at the General Aviation Terminal.
This helicopter, designed for the U.S. Army, is typically used to transport wounded troops from the battlefield. The Black Hawk took off a little after 1. Its final destination, of course, is unknown. Certainly a unique sight. There have been some interesting aircraft that have had to make stops in Joplin over the years, and so it's very, very neat to see these because it's not something you get to see all the time.
Certainly don't.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.